Hi everyone, welcome back to my class. This is Rumana Ali. I hope you all are doing well. In today's class, we are going to discuss about the disorders of muscular and skeletal system. We have seen the different bones, the different joints that forms our skeletal system. We have learned about our muscular system as well, how the muscle contraction takes place, what is the mechanism that is present behind the muscle contraction. All of those topics we have already discussed in our last classes. In today's class, let us see the disorders. That means if our muscular and skeletal system would not work properly, then it leads to a number of diseases in the human body. One such disorder is myasthenia gravis. This is the name of a disorder. Now let us see what happens in this type of disorder. Firstly, we'll see which kind of disorder it is. So it is an autoimmune disorder. Auto means self. Okay. So autoimmune disorder, what does it mean? Firstly, we need to understand about our immune system. We know that immune system produces antibodies, and these antibodies are responsible to protect our body. It provides protection against microorganisms and other foreign particles, right? So this is the major role of our antibodies, and these antibodies are produced by our immune system. So basically, immune system is providing protection against a number of diseases. But here, our own immune system fails to recognize the foreign particles and they start self-damaging. They damage our own systems. That means the immune system of a person start damaging its own systems. That leads to an autoimmune disorder. So generally we can say self-damaging disorder can be termed as an autoimmune disorder. Now what happens in the myasthenia gravis is, we know that the muscle, they can contract only when they get the signals from the nerves. So here the nerve cells are present. They releases certain chemicals, neurotransmitters. They releases neurotransmitters, and we know for the contraction of skeletal muscles, we need the neurons. They release acetylcholine. Right? Acetylcholine is a neurotransmitter, and this is released by our neurons. Once this acetylcholine is released by the neurons, they are going to be accepted by the receptors. These acetylcholine chemical reaches the receptors, and these receptors are called as ACH receptors. Okay. So ACH receptors are present on the wall of our muscle cell. These receptors can be able to receive the neurotransmitters, and once they receive the neurotransmitter, then only the muscle can show its contraction. The muscle gets contracted. But here in this type of disorder, what happens? Once the acetylcholine is released by the nerve cells, they are received by the ACH receptors. Now suddenly what happens? The antibodies of our body, they come towards the muscle cell. They takes this ACH receptor away from the muscle cell. They takes these receptors away from the muscle cell, and they digest that receptors. So if the receptors are not present on the muscle cell, then there will be no anything who can receive the neurotransmitters and who can make the cell contracted. So in this way, the muscle would not get contracted as the receptors are taken away by the antibodies. So this is what happens in the disorder called myasthenia gravis. Here myasthenia gravis, just to remember the name, we can say that these receptors are taken by the antibodies. The antibodies make the gravy of that receptors and they digest that. So to remember the name, we can understand the mechanism of the disorder, understand about the autoimmune disorder in this manner. ACH receptors, the antibodies, they will make the gravy of these ACH receptors, and as the ACH receptors are taken away by the antibodies, then the muscle cannot undergo the process of contraction. It would not get contracted. What happens if the muscle would not get contracted? Even the neurons, they are releasing the acetylcholine neurotransmitters for the contraction of muscle cell, but as the receptors are not present over the wall of the muscle cell would not get contracted, not able to command our skeletal muscle to show its movement. The movement is not possible, and it leads to paralysis. Paralysis is a condition where we are not able to command our skeletal muscle cells. So, skeletal muscle cells, they contract. Due to the contraction of muscle cells only, we can be able to make different movements. But here, as the contraction is not possible due to the absence of receptors, it leads to paralysis of that person. The person would not be able to command his own skeletal muscles, and this disorder can be termed as myasthenia gravis. Okay, our next disorder is muscular dystrophy. So, what does it mean? Muscular dystrophy means there is one gene responsible for the proper work of our muscle. If that gene is not present in a proper manner, if we get any fault in that gene, then it leads to a disorder called muscular dystrophy. This is a genetic disorder. As we are talking about the gene, it is related to the gene, so we call this disorder as genetic disorder. Okay, and here we can find one protein in our body, and that is dystrophin protein. If this protein is not produced in a body of a person, then that person can suffer from a disease called muscular dystrophy. And the other cause of this muscular dystrophy is dystrophin gene. Dystrophin gene is the biggest gene of our body. So, if this gene shows any mutations in its sequence, if it shows any fault in its sequence, then the muscles would not contract. Due to the improper contraction and relaxation of the muscles, the patient, the person who is suffering from muscular dystrophy, he or she would not be able to walk, would not be able to do any work, and even that person would not be able to talk properly. So, this is what happened due to the disorder called muscular dystrophy. Now, let us see the structure of muscle cell. So, we know that this is a muscle cell. Inside the muscle cell, we know that myofibrils are arranged, and in that myofibrils, sarcolemma is present, which is made of thick and thin bands, right? Here, somewhere actin protein is present in the sarcolemma. Or from here, if the gene gets started, dystrophin gene is present, and here on the wall of the muscle cell, certain proteins are present. If this dystrophin gene is present in an improper sequence, then it would not allow this muscle to contract or to relax in a proper manner. This muscle cell would not contract and relax. Due to the abnormal contraction and relaxation of the muscles, leads to a disorder called muscular dystrophy. The main reason, the main cause of this muscular dystrophy disorder is the gene, that is dystrophin. So, this is about a genetic disorder called muscular dystrophy. The person would not be able to walk, talk, or do any work if he or she is suffering from muscular dystrophy. Okay, our next disorder is tetanus. Tetanus can also be called as lockjaw, because generally it is going to affect the jaws of a person, and the person unable to talk, unable to speak. So, we call this tetanus as lockjaw also, and this tetanus is a disorder that is caused by the microorganism, and the name of this microorganism is Clostridium tetani. This gets spread by deep cuts, and this Clostridium tetani, what it does, when it enters into the body of a person, it releases a toxin, that is tetanospasmin. By the release of this toxin, the muscle, they undergo sustained contraction. Our muscle cells undergo sustained contraction. What do you mean by sustained contraction? That means over contraction. The contraction of muscle cell takes place for a longer duration. If that would happen in our body, then also there are so many problems that we can face, and generally I told you that it shows or it allows the sustained contraction of your jaw muscle cells. So it locks the jaw of a person and the person unable to speak any word if he or she is suffering from a disease called tetanus. So basically what happens, the Clostridium tetani, it enters into the body of a person, releases a toxin, and the name of the toxin is tetanospasmin. Due to the release of this tetanospasmin, sustained contraction of our skeletal muscle cells takes place, and due to this sustained contraction, our muscle cells would not work properly. We cannot show the proper movement of our body parts. This is how the tetanus is a disorder related to our muscular and skeletal system. The next disorder is tetany. We will take one example to learn about this disorder, and that example is hypocalcemic tetany. It's a type of a tetany. Here in this type, the level of extracellular calcium, it gets decreases. Now we need to recall the mechanism of muscle contraction. At the time of mechanism, I already explained you that the muscle cell, they will contract only when the calcium ions are released. So calcium ions are released from which organelle? It is released from the sarcoplasmic reticulum. Sarcoplasmic reticulum is an organelle that is responsible to release the ions called calcium ions. So once the calcium ions are released into the muscle cell would get contracted. But here in this situation, what happens? Some calcium ions are also found outside the muscle cell. We call the calcium which is present inside the muscle cell as intracellular calcium, and the calcium ions which are present outside of the muscle cell as extracellular calcium. So here, if the calcium concentration gets decreases, how the contraction would occur? So we are not talking about the intracellular calcium concentration. Here we are discussing about the extracellular calcium. Level of the extracellular calcium gets decreases. Due to decrease in the extracellular calcium, the muscle, it shows abnormal contraction, and we name this type of abnormal contraction as wild spasms. So due to this wild spasm, person can suffer from a disorder called tetany. It's very simple. Intracellular calcium, if it gets increases, the muscle contraction would occur. But here in the situation hypocalcemic tetany, extracellular calcium, it gets decreases. Due to the decrease in the extracellular level, due to the decrease in the level of extracellular calcium, this muscle cell, it shows abnormal contraction, and we call that contractions as wild spasms. Our next disorder is arthritis. Arthro means joint and itis means inflammation. So we can define arthritis as inflammation of the joints. It's of three kinds. One is gout, the other one is rheumatoid arthritis, and the other one is osteoarthritis. Let us see what happens in the situation or in the disorder called gout. Here in the gout, the deposition of uric acid occurs in the joints. We all know that in our body, waste materials are found, like ammonia, it gets converted into urea, and that urea gets eliminated from our body in the form of urine. During the process of urea formation, some amount of uric acid will also get formed in our body, and that also gets eliminated in the form of urine. But in some persons, you can see that the uric acid, it would not get eliminated out of their body, and it will be there and it will get deposited on the walls of the joint. So in the joints, the deposition of uric acid can be seen. Due to the deposition of the uric acid, the person, if it show the movement, if a person shows the movement of their joints, then some prickle like sensation would occur in their body due to the deposition of uric acid, and it will be very, very painful. So this is called GORD. Now next one is rheumatoid arthritis. It is an autoimmune disorder. We know that autoimmune disorder is a disorder that shows how our own antibodies is damaging our own systems. So it is also an autoimmune disorder. Now what happens? This is a joint. Joint is nothing but where the two bones meet. So in the joint you can see the release of some antibodies. That antibodies make the joint to release some crystals. So when the crystals are released in the synovial fluid which is present in between these two bones, then that also shows, or that also makes the prickle sensation, that also makes the burning sensation or pinch like. The persons, if they move their joint, they will sense the pinching. So that is due to the release of the releases of the crystals, and we call these crystals as pannus. It is also painful. The joints become painful due to the release of the crystals called pannus, and the crystals can be released due to the presence of our own antibodies. Hence, we call this rheumatoid arthritis as an autoimmune disorder. The next one is osteoarthritis. Osteo means bone. So when a person grow older, at that time, as the person grows older, the level of the synovial fluid gets decreases. So synovial fluid is present in between the two bones. If the level of the synovial fluid gets decreases, then there is a chance of meeting two bones together. When the two bones meet together, then it will be very painful. The joint becomes too painful, and even it may collapses or damages the cartilage which is present over the wall of our bones. To the damage that can be seen in the cartilage of our bone, the movement of our joint becomes too painful, and this type of disorder is called as osteoarthritis. Okay, the next disorder is osteoporosis. It is whenever the word osteo comes, it is related to our bones only. So here what happens? It is an age-related disorder. I told you that when the person grows older, the synovial fluid it gets decreases and the two bones gets attached to each other, and it may cause the pain in the joints. Likewise, when the person grows older, the bones of that person becomes weaker. Why? What is the reason? In the males, testosterone is a hormone, and in females, estrogen is a hormone that is released in their body, and that makes the bone, that enriches the bone with calcium. So when you look at the structure of the bone, then the bone is made up of then the bone shows the presence of calcium phosphate in it. If this calcium phosphate, the level of this calcium phosphate gets decreases in the bone, then the bones becomes weaker. Now what happened? This parathyroid hormone in our body, it gets releases, and the level of this parathyroid hormone gets increases as the person's age gets increases. So when the person becomes older, this parathyroid hormone, when it releases, it start break this bone, it start taking the calcium phosphate away from the bone. So when this calcium phosphate is taken by the parathyroid and released into the blood, in the blood the level of the calcium gets increases, and in the bone it gets decreases, due to which the bones become weaker. But in our body there is another hormone that opposes the function of parathyroid hormone, and that hormone is calcitonin. So when the calcitonin is released into the blood, it opposes the action of parathyroid, and it helps to return back the calcium from the blood into the bones. So this is what happens in the normal mechanism. But when the person becomes older, this estrogen and testosterone production will also get decreases. Due to the decrease in the production of estrogen and testosterone, the bones, they become weaker. When the bones become weaker, at that time there are so many pores that can be seen in the structure of bone. So porosis means pores are formed in our bone. Due to these pores, the calcium would easily comes out of the bone and the bone becomes weaker. So this is about a disorder called osteoporosis. So we have seen the different disorders related to the muscular and skeletal system. So here the chapter musculoskeletal system ends. I'll be back with a new chapter. That's all for today. Thank you.